Good morning. Today is Thursday, April 1st, 2021. We refer to this holiday as Chag HaMatzos, the holiday of Matzah. Matzah is the main symbol of this holiday. It is the main mitzvah of this holiday. And for that reason, it is the main conveyor of the meaning of this holiday, which makes it especially important to resolve a contradiction about the nature of matzah in the Haggadah that we read in the Seder. I'm sure you noticed this. In the Haggadah, we talk about the meaning of matzah in two separate places, one near the beginning and one near the middle, and the two places that we discuss matzah, they contradict each other. At the beginning of the Seder, we hold up a piece of matzah and we say, Ha lach ma'anya. This is the bread of poor people. The achlu avosana ba'ar de Mitzrayim. This is what our ancestors ate while they were slaves in Egypt. It is bread and water, nothing else added to it. It is what the poorest people eat, slaves that don't have time to attend to their own needs. This is the symbol of the persecution and the affliction that we suffered while we were in Egypt. Okay? Fine. That's what matzah is. Later in the Seder, we said the following paragraph. We hold up the same piece of matzah again, and we say, Matzah zu shanu oklim ashuma. This matzah that we ate on Pesach, what's the reason for it? We say in the Haggadah, Al shum shelo hispik b'tzeikom shel avoseinu lahachmitz, that our ancestors did not have time for the dough to rise into bread, ad shenigla kadosh baruch hu, before God had revealed himself to them, the golem, and redeemed the Jewish people and took us out of Egypt. Shenamar. And we quote a verse. Vayeyafu esei batzek. They baked the dough. V'lo yochlu lihismameya. They did not even wait till it rose into bread. They took the dough, flour and water. They baked it and ate it after they left Egypt. So which is it? Is matzah what they ate as slaves, or is matzah what they ate after they became free? Let's start by asking the following question. The description that we give to this holiday, the name is Chag HaMatzos, the holiday of matzah, but the description that we give in our prayers is Zman Cherusenu, the time of our freedom, the time of our liberty. What is the content of our freedom? What do we mean when we say that we became free on Pesach? At the Seder, the emphasis is on freedom from. We became free from hunger, free from slavery, free from persecution. Look at what we ate while we were slaves. This matzah with no nutrition in it, with baked in a hurry, nothing delicious to eat. This is what we are free from. We no longer have to eat the bread that was eaten by poor people. But freedom, it's not enough to be free from. We also have to be free to. We have to think about what our freedom enables us to. Sivan Rahab Meir tells the story that she heard just the other day about a man living in Israel, and because he had a certain job that provided government assistance through all the time of COVID, he had been receiving his regular salary since COVID began for the entire last year, even though he was absent from his job. So he wrote, I've been receiving my salary, and at the beginning it was fun. I stayed home, I slept late, I had no obligations, I didn't have to do any work, and I still got paid. My day was free. It was open. I could do whatever I wanted. Several times my employer asked me to come back to work, but why should I come back to work? I was getting paid just the same if I stayed home. So I stayed home. And not only that, but even when I thought about going back to work, I would hear from other coworkers who would say to me, you're a sucker, you're a fool. You can get the same salary and stay home. Why would you go back to work? But he wrote this week, right before Pesach, he wrote, my boss reached out to me again. And he said, are you ready to return to work? We need you at work. And the man said, after discussing it with my family and thinking it over, and with the approach of Pesach, I came to the realization, as soon as Pesach is over, I'm going back to work. Because sometimes what seems like freedom from, is really a form of slavery. To sit at home, to do nothing, to become tethered to a life of idleness, just to be free from, is an empty life. True freedom is the opportunity to live a life of purpose, to live a life of accomplishment, to live a life where I'm free to pursue something that gives meaning to my life. This transition between freedom from and freedom to is expressed in the Haggadah in the two passages about matzah. We begin by discussing matzah in terms of freedom from. This is the bread that we ate when we were poor, and we're no longer poor. This is the bread that we ate when we were slaves, and we're no longer slaves. But then, as the night progresses, we develop the sense of freedom too. What's the reason that I have freedom? What am I going to do with my freedom, with my not being a slave? Well, what the Jewish people decided was, after hundreds of years of slavery and poverty and hungry, when we were forced to eat matzah, on the first day, when we could have eaten anything, we were free from poverty, free from slavery, free from persecution. We could have chosen anything we wanted to eat. We had gained our freedom from, and we chose what we were going to use it for. We were going to rush to Mount Sinai. We were going to go so quickly that we were not going to take the time to let this dough rise into bread. We were going to continue to eat the same stuff that we ate when we were poor and hungry and enslaved. We were going to continue to eat that when we were free, because we were going to choose to rush in order to get to Mount Sinai. We wanted to rush. The Torah says, Lo yaklu lismameya. We didn't take the time to delay, even to let the dough rise, even to prepare provisions for the way. As soon as we had the opportunity, we chose to continue eating the same stuff in order to get to Mount Sinai. Freedom to be commanded in the mitzvos, to come to meet God at Mount Sinai, to make life meaningful and significant, even if it means we were eating the same stuff of poor people. But now we were doing it because we chose to, because we had a higher priority of being able to be commanded to live a life of meaning and significance. And the way that we express that is through the mitzvah of Sefiras HaOmer, of counting the Omer. From the day that we left Egypt, we count days. Today happens to be the 4th day of the Omer, and we count each day from the day that we left until we reach Mount Sinai, 50 days later. And the reason that we do that is to understand that the purpose of going free is not just to be free from, but it's to be free to rush to Mount Sinai, to be able to receive the Torah at Mount Sinai. The mitzvah of counting the Omer, reminds us of the content of the freedom that we gained on Pesach. My friends, we're coming near to the end of Pesach. We have tomorrow and then the last 2 days of Yom Tov. But we need to keep in mind, it's not the end. When Pesach ends, that is just the beginning of our journey. I want to just say on a personal note, you and I have spent a lot of time together recently preparing for this Pesach. And we will study together a few more times, as I mentioned, tonight and over Yom Tov in Shul with God's help. I will say, speaking personally, this has helped me tremendously to prepare and to understand and to appreciate and to be inspired and to be strengthened by these days of Pesach. With all that we've done together, we have almost reached the starting point. The journey to our new freedom begins as Pesach comes to an end. It will lead us to Mount Sinai. It will lead us to an encounter with God. It will lead us to a holiday of Shavuos. I look forward to starting that journey together with you. Just as Pesach comes to an end, we reach the starting point. My friends, I want to wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon in person.